Hey everybody, we're live. Yankee and the Canuck, episode 6. This was supposed to be off the rails with Edward, and I think it's still going to go off the rails. I just want to apologize to everybody we told on X that we were going to start at 8:30. I don't know what time it is. I think it's like Tuesday in Australia now. So our fault. Our fault.
That was
My
my
bad.
fault. I scrambled and got it. I'm here. We're here.
Hey,
How's
so
it
Orange
we got
going?
computer bad.
We got
That's right.
Paul from Orange Podcast Bad. He runs that with me consistently. He's the best co-host I could possibly have. Orange Podcast Bad. We got Edward from Yankee and the Canuck. All
Yes.
right, bro. Lay it out to me. So you were gonna go off the rails, like no, like
Well, you know
this was
what?
just this was through text message, right? And you're like, look, I
Yeah.
really need to discuss this topic. I really
Well,
got to get this off my chest.
it's so true, though. We've been talking about this. Actually, we've all been talking about this for months and months. We just never really put it in the proper terms or words. And that is this constant berating we always get about being racist. And any objection you make, and I don't care what platform you're on, you're always berated because, they call you a racist, or you get all the other, new catchwords thrown at you like homophobe or Islamophobe or whatever, it's constant non-stop, and this comes from the left. This isn't a right-wing thing. It's definitely a left-wing libtard thing. Can I say that word libtard? Because exactly who I'm
You
pointing this,
absolutely,
directing
you
it to all
absolutely
the liberals
can.
out there. Good. And I gotta say, we've misdirected our terms, our words today. When I say, and to be honest, it's a big slice, a big sector of people, immigrants that have come in that don't agree with our way of living, don't agree with the way we do things. They just got here. They knew who we were when they got here. No one forced them to come here. They just kind of waltzed in, and now they want to change everything. Our lifestyle here is not good enough. The food's not good enough. We eat pork. We eat bacon. That's just not their game. And that's fine. I don't care. I'm not saying anything. If you don't want to eat pork, maybe you're Jewish. That's fine. If you're Islam, but they haven't complained. I don't know if one Jewish person says, you know what, we got to change the West, America, Canada, you got to change because, well, we don't eat pork, so therefore the whole world's got to change. They've never done that once. The Muslims, the Islamics, yeah, they want to control and change everything, and I'm dead set against that. My whole complaint is media-wise, this mainstream media that we have, yelling at us constantly about how bad we are, um, is what we're doing right now as far as calling us racist because we object to some of their demands. They're not even. It's not even. Just mentioning that maybe we could. No, they're demanding that we change this, and because we're on stolen land, and this is what the ads really say. We're on stolen land, so therefore we can do what we want. You guys get out. It's our turn to come in now. You guys go wherever you want. I'm thinking, hey, wait a second. This is our home, our land. You guys already knew this before you came in. And if I object, I'm a racist or I'm an Islamophobe or whatever term the libtards are throwing at you. I'm not. However, I am an anti-culturalist, whereas I don't agree with their culture and what they believe in. That doesn't make one racist. That doesn't make one person bad, or I'm a lesser Canadian or American or whatever because you object to, their demands as far as being, say, Islam instead of Christian. They eat pork, don't eat. Doesn't matter. You know what? The whole fact of the matter is, I'm against your culture. I don't agree with beating women to death, or beating them up, or having them wear these bizarre, and what do you call them? I can't, burkas. Is that the whole dress? I don't even remember now if that's the whole dress or not.
The burqa's the dress. The hajib is the headdress.
Headdress. All right.
Like
Well, the
so,
whole thing, even the whole thing.
and there's variations in there from different countries that
Oh, all
allow
right.
certain things that others that don't.
All right.
Go to Iran, in 1970, and
Well, that was different.
the women were wearing like modern bikinis,
Yeah,
at
mini
least, or at least
skirts
one
and
piece.
yeah, sure.
Right? Yeah, Paul, you would know. You've been there enough times. You would know that. I mean, it's changed so much over the years. But yeah, now it's not even close to
So
reality where
wait,
we
I gotta
are.
ask, because since we're doing off the rails and you're being very good at off the rails,
Well,
and I wore my chill shirt just in case you got too far off the rails.
that
Um,
happens.
Listen, so what sparked this whole thing off?
The
Was it
media. No, the
the media?
media
Okay.
always, yeah, always hitting us over the head with this, racist thing because we can't stand and agree with them. And that doesn't make me a bad person, a bad Canadian, because hey, I like them just fine. There's lots of East Indians to get along well with. They're not, always stuffing something down my throat for me to change. They know they came here. I didn't go to their country. They came here. They already know what we were like and all about. Why are you trying to change me and make me feel like I'm all of a sudden the racist, the bigot, and whatever prejudiced against them? No, I'm none of those things. I am though anti-culturalist, though, where if I don't agree with your culture, I don't agree with it. Doesn't make me a bad person. And furthermore, you don't agree with ours, so does that mean I get to call you a racist now? Aren't you being the racist? Aren't you being the bigoted one? Aren't you, having certain prejudice towards our country now because you don't? No, no. So the media's got us thinking that we're the bad people. No, we were here already here, just living our lives, and you came in here with these big ideas that we got to change all this. No, I disagree, and that's why I say that the media and everybody has to, I think, talk back to the media, stand up, be accounted for, and tell them the way it really is. Being anti-cultural, if that's even a word, or anti-culturalist, I'm going to make it a new word right now. So keep your pens out because we're going to put this into the Webster's coming up next year. I'm applying. You wait. Yeah, so I'm anti-culturalist. That does not make me an anti-whatever. Doesn't make me even, like I said, bad Canadian, but it does make me dead set against their culture and everything they stand for. And the stuff we talked about, Paul. We talked about this before. Remember, we talked about the women and how poorly they're treated and whatnot. I'm going back. Oh gosh, that's going back quite a
Yeah,
ways now. But
yeah,
yeah. So, gentlemen, tell me, am I that far wrong? Am I off the rails on this completely? I don't think so. I mean, I've looked around. I've seen, how we're treated as Canadians, or even how you Americans, because you got the same thing going on there with the, you know, street closures, the parades, and the flags, and they're all the same colors. Have you noticed, gentlemen? The green, the black, the red, the white. Have you noticed that? All the flags of all those countries. I don't care if you're going to from uh, Palestine, Sudan. You can go on to the Jordanians. Everyone's got those same colors on their flags. Is it just me that's noticed this? Anybody? No?
No, it's not. I think you bring up a great conversation. Oh, which is why we went ahead and did a special episode of Edward Goes Off the
Hey,
Rails.
well, I had enough. I know, like, I guess because the election that we're having coming up now, and
Yeah.
everybody's so
Well,
hot on this issue, it comes to my attention that, hey, wait a sec, you guys got it all backwards. It's not us that are the racist or the, Islamophobes or all these newfangled catch terms you're bringing up today, which really does not
well,
even doesn't even make sense.
Let's slow down and look at how this originated, right?
Oh,
This all came out of, this is still a move out of the Marxist handbook, right? To
yeah,
divide everybody into the tiniest sectors and let them all fight each other. And then these tiny sectors might have a common cause at one point in time. This is where you get to look at a hero like Bernie Sanders, whatever. And you're going to get into this. Like they're all right now in America, right? They're cheering for a black kid who murdered a white kid. I don't know the full story, but they're cheering for him, and there's a bunch of white peoples who are bigots who are donating to them. So they just moved into a micro mansion. They're leasing it. No, they didn't buy it. They just bought a $150,000 Cadillac Escalade. They're leasing it. They didn't buy it. So to everyone that listens to this, that's all fake news. But like they got a lifestyle upgrade through this, and they're saying
The guy's a criminal. Hello.
they're
You know,
pretending that he's the victim in all of this because of the color of his skin. Now, hear me out. This is no different than in Britain, people getting arrested and jailed for Facebook posts against Muslim immigration because they say it's not compatible and it never will be.
we
Why are
know that.
you?
Yeah, exactly. And this is what the problem is today. They won't fit. They cannot become part of what we have here in the West because the West was set up to be quite different. Right from the very beginnings, it was God and state, God and country. It's even in our national anthems. It's everywhere throughout our systems, our country, our people, through everything. And all of a sudden now we have to change all that. We have to, no. And this is where I disagree with that and saying, no, because your culture disagrees with ours, you should have realized that ahead of time. You didn't. Now we're here. We find ourselves in this spot now, and now it's up to us to what? Placate to you or change everything now to make a no. I say the politicians, especially now with this election going on, I think more people have to stand up and say, wait a second, you know what? It's you are the ones that are creating and causing the problems. You should have addressed this a long time ago, but the media won't, of course. You already know that. I know you guys. You have pretty much the same media we have here, libtarded up, where the facts are never going to come out, and if they did, they'll have them all backwards. Leave it to a journalist to get a story backwards wrong and names wrong, and just oh my God, it's just a comedy of errors really when they write a story anymore. It's ridiculous. So yeah, that's why I'm thinking it's important that we all start talking a lot more about that. Even if we have to yell it, fine. But somebody's going to eventually have to hear that. Hey, it's not us. It might be you. Definitely is you. And let's have a look at this. And why can't we just be in the West? That's how we started. That's how we roll. And all of a sudden now we have to stop, back up, stop, drop, and roll because we're on fire now because we said, hey, you know what? We don't agree with your views and the way you treat people. And all of a sudden we're the bad guys. Now, well, Paul, am I wrong? Come on, brother. I
So,
mean, you've been there.
25 years ago and further back, when you were an immigrant, no matter what your culture, what your background, you came to America and you were expected to, and
Well,
you did assimilate.
yeah,
Now, you could keep your
Yes.
religion, you could keep your cultural mores, and you could live in a community of like-minded people, but you would still assimilate.
right.
What has gone away with the last two divisive administrations is that uh, pressure to assimilate when you come to the country. That was totally just done away with. And now they come over just with reckless abandon. They're going to act how they act. And like you said, we're going to work around them. Well, you know,
Yeah, it's not successful. It's never going to be a successful, can we say, union, or a combination, to have these two cultures mixed because they're clashing.
I,
They're not
I,
going to, they can't.
well, you're speaking specifically of cultures that are not Western or
Correct.
separatist
Well,
Presbyterian.
wait a
Well, no, hold on. I gotta want to say that because like we just had St. Patrick's Day in the West.
right.
Most people don't know what the hell that is. Me and Paul laid it out on a podcast. It's about Christian Orthodox St. Patrick, who grew up as a slave, escaped slavery after 7 years, and then came back and said, I'm going to go back as a missionary. That's what St. Patrick's Day is actually about. What do the Western people think about it? let's go drink some green beers, right? But
Well,
look, my point on all of that is you can have you can love your culture, your history from 2, 3, 400, 500 years ago, and have that celebration day and still be like, I'm American first, but I'm just recognizing this
Right.
is it. Whereas what I'm looking at going on, so we got a couple of things going on, and we got to talk about it. You brought it up. We're going off the rails because you wanted to go off the rails. I got to talk about real
gotta.
quickly black culture.
Well,
Uh,
okay.
no, I have to. And where I see online this with through many stories. It's not just one specifically. Where a black person violently murders, unalives, somebody else from a different culture, and it's celebrated.
What? What in the West here?
Yeah, yes.
I didn't hear the story. I didn't know. I can see that
I
happening in
I'll
South
talk to you.
Africa or
I'll
something
talk to you
like that. But
I'll talk to you offline about the specific story I'm talking about. But
all right.
I've seen this over and over and over again over the last 3, 4, 5 years, and
Huh.
I could bring receipts.
Well,
Uh,
not necessary. I'm just surprised because, like I said, you hear about the stuff going on right now in Johannesburg or like South Africa, and you know what's going on there right now. But here, in the West, yeah, well, not here, anyways. Maybe the States is seeing some of that. I don't know. I haven't seen any of that around here. And as a matter of fact, when you talk about black culture, that amazes me because we don't really have that really in Canada. Where I don't know, we don't really didn't really we don't really see that. I don't know. It's more, I think, unified that way than it is maybe perhaps in the deep south. I don't know. I don't really get that, but you probably do because you're around it more often. I guess I don't know. We don't really have a.
any thoughts, Paul?
They have inner city park with a gigantic statue of George Floyd. It doesn't get any more wrong-headed than that.
Is that the guy that
Yeah,
died because he
Derek
got arrested for
Chauvin,
some? Oh, that's the guy
allegedly
that.
had
Yeah,
his
yeah.
foot on his earlobe and choked the life out of him when in reality he had 8% fentanyl in his body. Reverse angle cameras show that Chauvin had his knee in the correct place in the middle of his back. I mean, it was just in the Biden heyday, and they erected this huge monument to this POS that was a drug addict, a drug dealer, a wife beater,
Oh, I
uh,
heard that.
a
Yeah, I did hear that.
career prisoner, in and out, recidivism, all of that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Edward, what you're seeing here in the United States, right, to divide is, and it started with Obama. Like it was passing, but then Obama came along, and now they're bringing back racism again,
You know what?
right? And
Obama's not even.
you want to talk about culturism? They can listen. I would go to one of their cultural festivals on a weekend in August. You said culturalism. I
Well,
would
yeah.
go to a Renaissance fair. I would go to an Irish festival. I would go to the.
Well,
I would go participate in these things, and I would participate with commerce. I would spend money. I do not want to go to this, and this is not because I have a problem with African people. This is a problem because they have a problem with white people. And since you're going to go off the rails, this is the off the rails episode. Let's just
well,
go.
you know what? Obama's a bad example. I wish people would stop bringing that up because that doesn't give us any true culture, nothing. He had a white mother, even. He's not even real black. He had a white mother, so a lot of her culture is going to already. So, that's not even a good example to use. The guy was an absolute farce, anyways. Everything he pretended he was turned out to be opposite to how he really was. And I mean, saying he was Christian turned out to be Muslim. Saying he was straight turned out to be gay. Saying, everything he said was an outright lie. So it's probably a bad example to use, Obama. I think most of America, at least most Canadians know that. I think most Americans know that as well now. Just if any culture, any person not to follow, that'd be him in a nutshell. But
I
going
think
back,
that's fair. When I'm talking about people that think they're African American, I'm identifying Obama or Sonny Hostin, which are not Africans. They weren't
right?
born in Africa, and but they claim that, like you said, culturalism. They want to be attached to that culturalism, and that's fine by me. But like you go do the thing, like go like, but if you want,
Yeah,
if you're gonna have the fast, if you're gonna have the Irish fast, let everybody attend. We're just there to hang out and have a good time, and maybe somebody will learn something about the Irish.
yeah. You know what? You taught me something. That's my heritage, and I didn't even know about uh,
St.
uh,
Patrick, yeah,
St. Patrick and his. I didn't even know he was. You said missionary. He went on to doing missions. You said I
missionary,
didn't even know that.
Christian
I,
Orthodox. So
I had no idea because I thought
Christian with quotes, Orthodox.
I didn't know he was an Orangeman. I thought he was green for sure. I didn't know he shared in that
Yeah,
William of Orange type of thing.
former
That's
slave, 7 years slave, 7 years as a child slave.
right, right, yeah. And not everybody even knows that about the Irish and the slavery going on there. What happened in New York City and in areas they had no idea. But you know what? The blacks would dismiss that because they want to be the only ones that ever been abused or misused. The only ones. I shouldn't say that about all of them because all of them is pretty broad. Some of them do know different, do know the facts, but I have to say, talking about our cultural differences, that's not a big deal to me. I mean, even that black culture bring up, it's still American to me. It's still pretty much all the same. It's not like this new movement that we're experiencing now, and even the Asians are very subdued with, yeah, they're allowed to believe whatever they want. I don't care, but they're not forcing it on us, and this is the big difference. Uh, Maybe they're Buddhist, maybe they're Hindu. I don't know, but you know what? They're not forcing that belief on anybody else. And even in our Constitution, it says being a Canadian means not doing that, not forcing your belief. We're allowed to believe in what we want. Forcing that on anybody is not Canadian. That's spelled right out plain as day. So why they think it's their new job, I guess it is. You could say that to uh, recreate or reinvent the Canadian. I have no idea, but it's not, and not all of them do that. It's because I've known some, been around here for like 20 years. They're good people, great guys. These new ones, however, and I don't really think the ones I know like them very much, but that's a whole other conversation. We can go on hours on just what the ones have been here and worked to get what they have today, and then watch and look out and see all these new freeloaders come in, getting everything for nothing. Yeah, I think I'd be kind of ticked off too. But yeah, uh, I got to say, more of us have to speak out more about this. And I think the election coming up today, where everybody's ignoring that because they all agreed not to talk about immigration on the debate tonight. The number one subject today, and has been for the last, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years, has been immigration. What do you mean you're not going to talk about it? That should be the biggest fight. Let's have a drag them down, drag them up fight right now on immigration. I want to know where you guys stand on, or even your thoughts on this one particular group. And you said to me earlier that back in the day, no, because back in the day, we immigrated from, England, Ireland, Scotland, Italy, even Portugal, Germany was a big one too. I mean, all these,
Mhm.
that was our major draw from or pull from is these nations there. Now we've, and today, so many from East India are here in our country. Nobody else. As a matter of fact, Trudeau said that being a Christian was the biggest stain in the Canadian history. No Christians allowed.
Wow.
Has to be. I know, right? I had to take a picture of that myself because I find that so offensive that everybody else can say whatever you want about any religion out there as long as you're nice about it. But you can say
Mm.
bad things about Christianity, and no one's going to say anything about you, and no one cares. But you say one bad thing about, say, Hindu or Muslim or I mean Islam, yeah, they're going to throw you in jail. But this is where we're at today with this libtard government we have, and the left is still that retarded. It is just to usher in communism, and no one sees that yet. What you talked about, the division or diversity, as they call it, the divide/diversity movement, which is another. You already know how false that is, because there is no such thing as strength in diversity. It's always been strength and unity. Unity has always been our strength. Unity has always been America's strength, people. You know that. You
Yeah.
can't have everybody. It's always been unity. Division or diversity has never been the strength of anybody's country. And I keep saying that on and on. You must be tired of me hearing me say that, but that's just reality. And I don't think anybody stopped long enough to say, "Hey, wait a second, media, you preaching this diversity thing is so wrong." And no one said, "Wait a second, Miss or Mrs. Journalist, wait a minute, division/diversity. That's backwards. You got that all wrong." But no one says anything. That bothers me. You guys, have you have you heard the same thing they're beating us over the head with this diversity is good, diversity is the best, diversity is blah blah blah,
Oh,
and we
of
all know it's
course.
not.
Of
Yeah.
course. I've heard that. And what, like, I'm gonna tell you, this is the best Edward, the off the rails Edward. I would like to see more of this on the podcast.
Well, yeah,
Going off the
maybe not.
rails. No, no,
Well, when
no.
we
I think it's good, but all right. So to redirect, right?
when
The conversation was culturalism versus racism. Where do you
yeah.
see racism?
Well, in what they say about us as being racist because we don't agree with their cultural decisions and beliefs and how they're trying to, you know, uh, foist them on us. And foist, I guess, is the correct word to use because, well, we're going to have none of it. I'm telling you that right now. It's like I said, it's not going to be this wonderful uniting of these two cultures. They're clashing, and they have been for quite some time. You'd have to be a dum dum. Where's Kazoo when you need it? We need a Kazoo. Hello, dum dum, because that's exactly what's going on. You have to be blind not to see this retarded reaction against these two groups of people, and everybody's just turning a blind eye to it. Come on, we know better. It's just no one's talking about it because I guess we're not allowed to. Maybe they're maybe they're afraid of the cultural police coming to your door, the mask police, because we didn't wear a mask. I don't know, but it's just getting ridiculous. No, let's stand up and be counted for and be the Canadians or Americans that we were brought up and raised to be. And that is God and country. I mean, what happened to that? Where'd that go all of a sudden? And you know what? What's even funnier, gentlemen? I got to say, this is the funniest part. Uh, these people are taking lives and killing people through this Islamic belief, or if you want to call it a religion, go ahead. It's not. I mean, and you tell me and find any Islam that can tell me anything of importance they've done or the Islam has done from the first, second, third, fourth, fifth century, sixth century. Nothing. They have nothing on record, nothing historical about them, nothing, zero, zip, nada. And yet they believe in this fairy tale religion called, Islam. There is no such thing. It was all created, all invented. It was a Scotsman that wrote the Quran back in the 18th century and put everything together from different methods and different findings he had. But it's not real. There's nothing real about it, and yet people are losing their heads over it. Literally, I mean, that's not a play on words. That's actually very true. Jihad, I think they call that. I'm not even sure now. Where they'll just chop your head off if you don't say that. Yeah, all right, I'll give up Christianity and follow you, dum dums. No, and that's where we are. I'm not doing it. I have none of it, no part of it, and you can't force me because I'm not going to do it. I'll just tell you straight out, right now. I'm not going to become one. I never will. And pursuing this nonsense any further is ridiculous at best, and we should stand up and get rid of it immediately. That's right. That's where I'm coming from. Yeah, maybe I ranted too long about that.
Paul, do you have anything you want to interject right now? Because I'm about to make him go even farther off the rails.
Oh no!
So,
Don't do it.
uh, yeah,
I'm
Paul,
tired of it.
did you have anything that you wanted to interject?
You know, because
Well, I
Paul's been
would
there for so
say
long.
go ahead, my brother, and I'll follow up.
No, no,
Explain
because you've
to
been over
me.
there and you've
No,
seen so much.
Edward, because everyone's going to argue with me the Christian Crusades. Explain to me the difference between jihad and the Crusades.
The Crusades weren't Christian for one thing. I mean, you could say they were, but they were not Christian. Everybody has that, oh, they were Christian killing. No, that's not even close to what was happening at that point in time, because Muslims or the Islamic followers were not Christian. So what were they doing, raping, pillaging, and killing people at those times? That wasn't Crusades. That was their Crusades, not Christian. Had nothing to do with the Christians. But go ahead, Paul. Sorry to interrupt. I had to jump on that because I was saying you've been around the Middle East, go back in the day, you've seen how it changed and why it changed, and you probably can't talk about a lot of the stuff that you have observed throughout
Well, I
the
got to
years.
say, 20 years ago, Sudan, Somalia,
Oh, there's another one.
Yemen, Chad, Niger, Nairobi, Uganda were different places than they were now. And I'll tell you honestly, I would have no problem back then taking my wife with me over there and
Hmm.
staying in a villa and all that.
No,
I mean, it
gotcha.
was
Yeah,
just it was just not a thing. But
yeah.
now with Boko Haram and
Well, yeah.
all of this uh, jihad that they've infiltrated into the culture of the sub-Saharan Africans is just it's beyond the pale, dude. It's beyond the pale, and it's the same. I gotta say, it's the same divisiveness that it is here in the states. It's that they go in, they divide the people. These are peaceful people trying to eke out a living and just get enough to eat and mind their own business, and now they're at each other's throats and stuff. And it's just
Yeah, no, you know what? Affirmative. And what even bothers the more when you just brought that up, what even bothers me more is I just heard a report. Now, I thought in the last 3 or 4 years, just over 100 churches, Christian churches, have been burnt in Canada here. The lady told me it was over 200 now, but the media is quiet on the whole thing. Not one word from the media, nothing about all these. Now, if you just spray painted some obscenity on a mosque, you'd be hung. Burn a church down, no big deal because it's Christian. Say one bad thing about a Muslim, or just any graffiti, even, or just throw a garbage piece of garbage on the lawn. Of course, that's disrespectful. Right away, you'd be put in jail. But anything as far as the Christian churches, not a word. They haven't said a thing. I find that most bothersome that the very fabric of our country uh, is just disregarded so easily. And the media is not saying anything. They're not standing up. Even the ones that, okay, we have one, I'll say a right winger. They have said some things, but not enough. I mean, you might as well be Fox News at this point, where you're kind of, right, but not really. You're kind of in the middle road, but more left leaning every day. So that's Fox News today, which is why I don't watch it anymore. I used to, but no longer. And we have the same thing up here, so it's kind of middle of the road, but well, I'll say a little bit more right than Fox News, but still disappointing. We should be up in arms about this, and no one has. That's scary. So that's just another reason why more of us, we're all on X. We might as well start talking amongst ourselves or out in society and say, hey, you know what? I gave him a good talking to, or maybe a lambasting for some of these loudmouths we have out there that are so and maybe because I've witnessed this myself, from the downtowns of the bigger cities. You see it more often. Maybe you guys don't where you guys are living because maybe, well, Paul, I don't think you're way out in the country, and I think you too, Sean, are not in the city center, so you probably wouldn't be aware of this like some of us would be. So I don't know, but still, it happens, it exists, and we have to do more about it. Stand up more, and I won't just say fight back. All we have to do is stand and say exactly our piece, and that should be enough right there to send them right over the edge. We don't have to fight back or throw fisticuffs or anything. Just stand and say exactly what the truth is, and that alone sends them. Believe me, I've done this. Sends them into a fury.
All right,
And
so
so, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead, Paul. I want to hear what you're thinking, and then I'll jump in. Go ahead, Paul.
So I just want to give another cultural example. So here in rural East Texas,
All right.
we have black, white, and Hispanic. That's the major makeup of our community. There, there are ranch owners of all of those races and cultures. Every single gas station in the 100-mile area is Indian or Pakistani,
Mm-hmm.
and I and for years and years and years, all of you combine those cultures into the Texas culture. Every one of them wear cowboy hats. Every one of them chew tobacco. Every one of them hang out at the feed store and say good morning to each other. Everybody goes to the uh, uh, Richie's for breakfast at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's all the Mexican ranchers, all the black ranchers, and all the white ranchers, and they don't sit apart from each other. Because we're all East Texas ranchers. Our kids went to school together. We all know each other. You could go across the street and borrow a tractor from the other guy. It
Isn't that
doesn't
the way
matter
it's
what
supposed to
color he
be,
is.
Billy?
You're
That's
like, hey,
American. I know.
yeah,
That's
it's
the way
just
it's
plain old
supposed to be.
America, right? Yeah,
Yeah. But
it doesn't
it's
get to be an issue till you get up in the north with these elites, where they bring it on themselves.
no, true. That's fact right there. Fact. And this is part of the problem which I've been trying to, extreme. Yeah, I wish more people would expound just what you just said right there about the unity as far as being, the same as in that fabric of, and we don't. We're so, again, because we're trying to bring and turn us into where they came from, which if they didn't like where they came from, you'd think they would accept and be quite happy being in what we have as a nation. But oh no, they have to, don't like where they came from, but then they want to turn us into where they came from. Doesn't even make sense. Can you wrap your mind around that? I don't like where I came from, but where I'm going, which I think I'm going to like, I'm gonna turn it back into what we left because we liked it that much. No,
No,
it
no,
doesn't make
no,
any
no, no,
sense.
no, 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 hold on, Edward. So where that comes from, though, is that they believe they want a mixture of things, right? So they want capitalism so that they can get money, or even they
Well,
can get money by, I'll get a free hotel,
Social
a
programs.
thousand,
Yeah.
right? Social programs. But I can still practice my
welfare.
religion, which is where you see Islam in Europe doing the prayer 5 times a day and blocking streets. I know, it's super frustrating.
We
These
have that
things
here.
cannot these things cannot coexist. I have lived near people who have coexisted with me who were Islamic. They did their thing. They came back and they came back to the barbecue in the backyard. They did
Well,
what
that's
they were coexisting. The term coexist obviously was taken over by the left, and they mean no conservative values, no Christian values, no white people. That's
yeah.
not what the coexist I observed was when dealing with Islamic people.
I
It
know.
and we're gonna get like
And
as this continues to go down the road, the Bernie Sanders, the ALCs, look at her for 2028. I promise you.
I hope not.
You're gonna look at the say accept all people. Why? What benefit does it create to the West? That's my question. What benefit?
There is no benefit. It's destroyed everything, and the more we let this go on without speaking up, saying anything, standing up, the worse it's going to get. I can tell you that right now. This isn't true integration. This isn't what we in immigration and integration, that, as you brought up earlier, speak the language. Lots of them can do that, but that's as far as it goes. The other values that they have is what they want us to try. Now, I can't see Sharia law being a thing. I heard that in some of the states they've got rid of that altogether, and yeah, I can't see any state or any province accepting, yeah, let's have Sharia law, and start beating up the women. And where does that leave them? And I can't believe the women that even would support that. That just amazes me. Can you believe that? What kind of woman do you have to be to think that you should be not even a second class, a third class citizen or lower? Because I think the livestock come above the women, and so you're below them. So where does that leave them? I don't know. But why would anybody support such a diabolical, sinister? And again, uh, that's just from what I know and what I've read, what I studied, what I think of the Islamic religion. Period. And probably through talking to me throughout the months, people. Uh, uh, where I come from on that. You've heard me go on and on. It's no surprise. It's not that I don't like them. I love the people. I just can't stand the fantasyland, fantastical, reaching and not doing their homework as far as researching. Hey, maybe this is made up. Maybe this isn't. Remember that the prince, one of the princes. I forget the guy's name from Saudi Arabia. The prince there, he denies uh, the Islamic faith, saying, "Yeah, this is not real. It can't be true." And now he's a Christian. He turned. Can you believe that? That was a couple of weeks ago now. So that's how fast I think the information is getting out there. Where yeah, this can't be true. And then the more I look at it, yeah, it's not true. And then they just dismiss it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's where we should all be talking more about it too. And we're not, and we should be, especially at the political level. And they're not doing that either. So, do you know where I'm
Well,
coming from?
in
Just
the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, there's a Muslim outfit that's putting together 800-acre city with one of the largest mosques outside of the Middle East. It's a
really,
gated community, and they will
Yeah.
practice Sharia law, and you
no.
have to comply with Sharia to buy a house in there.
Where is
Now,
this? Now,
tell me
where is
that's
this in
not
Texas?
the Bible.
Whereabouts?
Near Dallas. Near
Near
Dallas.
Wow.
Dallas, in the Dallas Fort Worth area. Yeah.
Well, where are they finding 800 acres of land to do that? Because that's pretty much, as far as I knew, it was all built up around there. Where are you getting 800 acres to
No,
to
well,
start a
yeah, all
community?
right, come on. Go up in a plane, look around. In the entire globe, look around. There is so much land
Well, yeah,
that
there
could be
is. Yeah,
occupied.
true.
Like
But
no,
still,
so no.
wow.
Yeah, it's outside of Dallas Fort. It's been being built up for years. We've been talking about this over on the X Spaces,
I
Edward,
know, I
for a
know,
couple of
but
years. They're building
uh,
encampments. The problem is
I
it
didn't
becomes
know
a
that.
no-go zone for our law enforcement officers.
Yeah,
They're
I could
not going to be
see.
able to go in there. It's going to become like what you would think of in America as an Indian reservation. And
Well,
we
that's
can,
exactly right.
like, even
Yeah.
if they want help, we're not going to be able to send in the fire department
Now, because
because they're going to say, no, you're not allowed.
it is a
I'm
true
good with
Indian
that.
community, though, right? It's going to be a dot, not a feathered community, but it's going to be an Indian reservation for sure. Just not with the feathers. It's going to be all dots. So you have to recognize that, I guess, or whatever police force they decide to. Well, you wouldn't really need one under Sharia law, anyways, would you? Not that I know of. I mean, what could possibly go
Uh,
wrong?
look, you say that, Paul said, yeah, I'm good with. I listen. I don't think they should be here, and that's going to be my argument. They didn't come here to immigrate to be pro-Western, be American,
Assimilate, yeah.
and they
Correct.
chose to
Integrate. Just
bring their culture, and this is going back to your topic, their
yeah, yeah.
culture. So culturalism versus racism, and I
Well,
will say they are racist, not us.
correct. And you know what? Every when we have the big soccer tournaments, the World, Cup, the worldwide ones, all the people in Canada, what if the Italians get together for their team, and you get the Irish, and you get the English, you get all the cultures getting together and
Yep.
celebrating whatever, and that's fun. They're still Canadians. They all know that, but where they came from, their heritage, we all get together in different cliques or groups, but we have fun with it. We don't
Yeah.
think that should supersede who we are as Canadians. Say, oh, well, I'm going to, no, we still know who we are. We just have the fun with it. But that's as far as it goes. We don't start changing the country and changing people to be like whatever our ancestry was. No, we don't do that. And if you did, go ahead and set your one up way up north somewhere. I don't care. Churchill, Manitoba, for all I care, but not here.
Listen, here's what I just thought of. It's totally fine to have a bargument. I could like when we had that four country hockey tournament. We got the first win. Everybody in America went nuts and laughed at Canada. Canada won in the end. They laughed at us. That's a bargument.
Yeah, but that's
BIR. Everybody's just drinking, having fun, and making fun of each
true.
other.
That's true. It's
Like what
fact.
you're looking at
Yeah,
with this with the culturalism is not culturalism, it's racism. It's absolute
true.
racism is what you're
But you know
seeing
what?
happen to the West.
What I didn't like about that tournament is matter, because that could be, it used to always be a fun thing, but when you start the libtards or Trudeau booing the national anthem, the American national anthem, I thought was going too far. Let's be fun, but don't take it, to the, that's just getting stupid crazy. I mean, we still have the two countries. We've always been brothers. I mean, you cross any border, it's written on every pillar on the border going each way, about that relationship to being, brothers and sisters from a common people. It has it everywhere. We're still that way. Why anybody would think in Trudeau, I think it's just those liberals, oh my God, the nonsensical thinking. Well, they don't think. They got no brains. I mean, these people are about as dumb as it gets. That's why we still need Kazoo, why he should still live in our minds today. Because they're as goofy as all get out. I'm telling you, oh my God, they couldn't reason their way out of a paper bag. No wonder so many of them are lawyers and judges.
That's a
Another
good
group of people
point.
couldn't reason their way out of a paper bag. Some of these judges are so stupid. I mean, like, I mean, Judge, excuse me, did you not consider this? Oh no, I no, come on, please, really? I mean, it's just got stupid. But let's not. You know what? My rant's gone on long enough, gentlemen. I mean, I was just ticked off when I seen what was going on politically speaking. And then no, everybody's just kind of staying mum on like, like, so come on, out with it, tell it the way it is. But these gutless government representatives we call politicians, yeah, not saying anything about it. And immigration, they're not talking about that. Maybe they're no, let's not talk immigration during this debate. The biggest concern we have as citizens, and we're not going to talk about it. Really, that's like when people say in gatherings or groups, let's not talk about politics or religion. Two of the biggest things that control a person's life, and we're not going to talk about it. What?
Right?
Well,
You know
just
what? Here's the fun part. If you live in America, or if you live in the West, period, Easter Sunday's coming up, and you're probably gonna go hang out with your family, and
yeah.
you have no idea what they like. Well, I have every idea what they think. I'm gonna wear my MAGA 4745 uh, half down zipper pullover, and I'm just gonna sit there and be like, "Hey, when are we doing the Easter egg roll? When are we?" I'm, just, I'm not going to say a thing about politics. I'm going to make them do it to me. Right? So, right?
Good for you. Good
Wear
thinking. No,
your
I love
listen.
that.
Wear your MAGA gear. Wear it proud. Don't be scared to be stabbed by a teenager from
Yeah.
Africa. Wait, he wasn't from
Oh,
Africa,
yeah. That was
right?
just, I can't believe that. Why there'd be all of a sudden we have this hero worship for a murderer. I mean, it does put
It's
the
not the
story of,
first time. Look at the Luigi worship,
never
right?
mind that.
Murdering
Promise.
a
Yeah.
CEO of a healthcare company
Yeah.
because you're mad at
Yeah.
the color orange.
Yeah. Oh my
And
God.
you
I
believe,
know.
you literally believe that like everything that you see on TikTok and on Instagram reels, you believe all this. And this is what I saw this a lot on the internet tonight. These people literally believe all of the rhetoric that's coming out of Cory Booker or some of these other Congress people or senators or AOC, and they're doing awful things. They're murdering
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And what? Like, wait, what? They're
I
like,
know. I know. It's just beyond belief what's going on. I find it. Here's something it just sends me. I'm irate because we have to put up with, say, 4 years or 9 years of a libtard government or Obama regime, and we have to bear through it. Hopefully, it ends soon without much damage. It's all we're thinking. Just get us through these next years so we can, get over the cheat and the steal and have a real election, get the real people that care in power. But no, the libtards, when they lose, they just go berserk and lose
Yep.
all sense, and all of a sudden they're stabbing and killing people and burning places down, dealerships. Hey, Tesla, that was a libtard thing. Let's start electric cars, and we'll get rid of the gasoline engine, which of course is cheap, and well, actually we don't even have a lot of the pollution we had back in the day, the NOx specifically. But nonetheless, let's just worship these electric vehicles. Now they turn their backs on Elon Musk, say nope, electric vehicle bad. Of course, we already know that Orange Man bad. Now it's Elon Musk bad. Now everything's bad because it's not going their way. And hell's going to be paid because it's not going their way. And we're going to do something about it. We don't do that as far as conservatives or Republicans, or if you're American. But nonetheless, this is we just handle things through common sense and the rule of law, and the libtards just go right out of their minds and, and,
Right off
and
the deep
start
end. Yep.
breaking stuff, and they have to burn it down as their whole saying. And we're not like that. We'll ride it out, and wait for the best to come in. But as far as burning the place down because we don't agree, and let's start stabbing and killing people, yeah, that's just that's lawlessness 101. We're not like that, and we shouldn't be like that. Yeah. That's my rant, gentlemen. I've probably gone on too long now, boring, boring it to
well, was
tears.
it
But
boring?
I was
Actually,
something upset when,
listen,
yeah.
this is the Edward I want to see. Edward going off the rails, and I've already entitled this show Edward goes off the rails. I
Oh,
think
did you
people are,
really? Oh
yeah,
no.
I think people are going to want to see this. But hey,
Well,
listen, gentlemen, I know it's a couple minutes early before we normally close out, but I just want to give you all time to get if, whatever final speech or just show your favorite finger to whoever you want to talk to or whatever. Right, you can do that. And we'll close this one out. And I think, Edward, this would be a good idea to do once in a while when something happens. Is Edward goes off the rails?
Yeah. That'd
That's
be
a good.
classic.
well, it just happened to be one of those days when we have this debate going on, and that came up. And thinking, how can you do that to the people of the country? Not talk about the biggest issues. I found that, well, so controlling, so communistic controlling, where you're not going to tell the public exactly, the Canadians, the people that are voting for you, and talk to them what your stand is, your policy on immigration, or what's going to become of it, or how it's going. No, I mean that was just the whole thing. Just like I said. That's why we have this here show going on, because I couldn't believe it. That's why I said, screw it, we're going live. Remember, we're doing it.
That's
Gotta
right.
hear what's going on.
We
So
sure
here we are.
did.
How to do it. So thank you, boys, for allowing me to vent, because I
Oh,
was
this
so
is great, man. I love
angry.
it.
But well, thank you, Paul. But yeah. Now I feel better. Thank you for hearing me out, Sean, Paul. I feel a lot better now. So yeah, that's my last words. You can close it out now if you finish off, Paul. If you got a thought, but I'm good now. I'm great.
Paul, you got anything?
No, I'm good, man. I'm at the end of my rope here. I gotta
I
peel
totally
off.
get it. Listen, we didn't have any clue that this was going to happen. This was not a scheduled podcast. This was Edward going off the rails, and I kind of like it. I want to be very clear about that to our listeners who see this and go, wait, you were on at your normal time.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a good time, and I think we're going to do it again. I think we're gonna put that into. It's just gonna be a thing, and it might be even in shorter segments of just Edward going off the rails. Right? And we could do that. We
Well,
could do like whatever the topic is. You
Yep.
go off the rails 20 minutes, and we clip it. Right? So,
uh,
it,
it was a
Sounds
good
I,
good
night
to
then, I
me.
guess. Thank you,
All right,
I,
boys.
fellas.
I appreciate the time, but yes, I thought it was a must-need to thing when we got into it. So that's the finish, anyways. Thank you.
send it out to all your friends. I'm closing it.